Nation. This is one of the. This is it's a rarity. We haven't talked. We haven't recorded an episode in a few days. Cage did a solo episode yesterday. Shout out to you, brother. Thank you for holding it down. But we're back.
Feeling better.
Lucas Tigers and Bronze. Oh my! The fractional report before opening bell, brought to you by Collectable. And we have a million things to talk about. You can ask me all the questions you want. But to me, I've been a little bit distant from the card world the last 3-4 days, which feels like a lot. And these 3-4 days were when the triple logo man closed. And I have a thesis or like a narrative, and I'm curious what you think. Long-term markets are rational. Short-term, it's a lot of like kind of how people feel, right?
Correct.
The consensus with the triple logo man is that it ended soft. But in reality, $2.4 million for a card is a lot of money on any day.
Yep.
And do you agree that there's a little bit of both of those parties out there right now? And I think short term, it's like, wait, the market's a little soft if that doesn't get 6 million. Just it's expectations versus reality.
So, one, what I would say, you want my take on the card, is we were the only people to not talk about it. So until the last 2 minutes, minute and a half, I was happy about the fact that we were the only ones to not talk about it. But I'm actually happy we're bringing it up because you're bringing it up.
It's a bellwether card. You're
bringing it up in a smart way. Exactly. Not just, hey, what's going on with this card? Should it have sold for $6 million? It's, what does it mean? Right? What does it mean that this sold for what it sold for? What does it mean for, is there a light market? Is it not a light market? What's the deal? You name it. I love that. That's the take. And here's where I go with it. You ready? We've talked about this. The more story you have to tell about a card, the less I like it. The less the collecting world is going to like it. The more you have to tell people that something is worth $5-6 million. The more you have to tell people this person wants it, this person's chasing it, this person. The more you have to go and do it. Now, let's give Ken,
on our Whatnot show, I just put the card out and let's say, look at the card.
Here you go.
I'm not saying a word.
You guys know what this is, and if not, here you go. We'll look what the card ladder comp is, and sometimes it's too low, and it is what it is. Stuff happens, right? But this card is all about the story, right? So let's take it two ways. Number one, give Ken some credit, right? If you're concerned about marketing of an item, the dude marketed the item. I mean, he was in like Times Square holding the card, with like advertisements behind him. Like you don't do more than that, but at the same time, right? What's the reason he had to do that? And what I do with cards is I'm going to buy a card. I think of what is the story about that card going to be in 10 years? How difficult is it going to be for me to tell the story of that card in 10 years? Michael Jordan rookie? Sure. Maybe it ran a little far. But in 10 years, I'm going to know what it is, Michael Jordan's rookie card. It's not the Michael Jordan promo card that was this and that and this. It's not the star that was regional, this, that, and that. It's not a PMG that certain people who had a lot of money and controlled the hobby and blah, blah, blah said that's the one you should be buying right now, right? It's his rookie card, so it's his rookie card. Easy, right?
Been a few days since we talked, Cage. I sense.
It's bottled up. LeBron is
okay.
Easy. People know what it is. People are going to know what that is. This card, you're going to have to...
This isn't that big of a story. It's 3-game worn LeBron jerseys. It's not that crazy.
Exactly. The card is not that crazy, right? The card itself, it's actually 3 pictures of Jerry West that you're buying. I mean, Jerry West is not the most investable person in the world.
Have you ever seen a logo man? Hotshot just subbed an Andre Iguodala logo man. Which, by the way, how did they have 2 out of 2 logo mans? That doesn't even make sense.
There was one in the auction last night. It was I think a Kevin Garnett that was out of 18.
That doesn't make sense. But if you've seen a logo man, it's a beautiful card.
Cool.
It's a beautiful card. And game used from 3 different teams. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm not a big LeBron guy, but I'm like, this card's pretty cool.
It's
like,
pretty cool, right?
And you got to give Panini a little love too, because like to create a card like that, they did get, I think, more hate than love for the creation of the card. But they went out on a limb. We asked them to try shit. They did.
Right, but the card is cool. That's not what made the card something that people thought was going to be worth more. Well, it is a $5 million card, a $4 million card, was because of all of the story around it right now. And you started by talking about the short term in the hobby versus the long term in the hobby, right? Everything on Collectable, the story is the same as it was 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 5 years from now, and 10 years from now. Because these are items that are, you name what they are easy. This one, you're going to have to say, hey, it's 20. Remember, hey, what's 10 years from now look like? It looks like 2030. So it'll look like 2032. And
We've
people
come
are
a
like,
long way since then with Buster. We're actually
there was
friends now, Gage. He
there
was
was a
feeling me
guy.
out.
There was a guy named Drake. He had no friends in the industry, but he was a pretty popular musical artist at the time. I mean, now you guys know him as the old guy who shows up and gets a Lifetime Achievement Award. But he was chasing this card, and he was opening boxes of Flawless with this guy named Ken Golden, who some of you know from his days, before the auction house and the whole. I mean, but so think about the story that has to be told, right? Let's go back in time, and we chased it, and then there was Whatnot, and they called in the influencers, and there was this guy Sasha. You guys know Sasha? He's president of the United States now. Of course, everybody knows him, and his vice president, Card Collector too. Yeah, I mean those guys, they were the influencers. They were vying for a Lamborghini. You guys know what those are, right? Remember people who bought NFTs. Every one of them has a Lamborghini now. Right? So I mean,
who have you been speaking to the last
weird
48,
story,
72 hours?
Man. Nobody.
Who's
That's why it's all bottled up. So here's the thing. That card, well, albeit awesome, and let's not take away from $2.4 million. That is a pack pulled card from this year. Somebody opened up something from this year's product and sold this year's card for $2.4 million. That's amazing. That's never been done before. Right? You can have cards that are sell for more, but not the year that product is released, non-rookie, you name it, the whole deal. So it's an amazing price for a card. Let's not poo-poo that. But the reason why people might have thought it was selling for $4, $5, $6 million was because of this year's story around it. Everybody chasing on a Whatnot, the explosion of Flawless, everybody looking for this car. We're going to chase it. We're going to give away a Lamborghini. We're going to get every one of the influencers out there to open up cards, open up boxes on Whatnot. We're going to make a special week about it. Ken's going to have Drake on, and he's going to be opening. Polwax is going to have Drake. All these people are going to have Drake on, and it was the hobby story. And the story came to a conclusion. And as often happens, sometimes they just set everything on fire with the crazy dragon lady, and no one's happy about it.
Who does that?
That's what Game of Thrones did when they ended it. It's got to come to an end, man. But sometimes it's not the end everybody wanted. We didn't want Bran Stark to be the next king. We didn't want him sitting on the throne at the end. The odds makers wouldn't have had that. The odds makers on this one, you're right. I think the general consensus is, wow, I thought it would sell for more. But I haven't heard a single person say, wow, I would have paid more for that. Nobody. So that's a difference, right? It's difference between, wow, I thought it would sell for more, and wow, that's cheap. And that's the difference between a card that's got a story now and a card that's got a story forever.
You know what I never understand? When cards pop up, there's always a guy that's kind of friends with the guy that's might be selling the card, and he's like, oh yeah, I would always pay I'd pay X for it. Yeah. That's not a binding offer, right? And it happened with this card as well, right? When it first came out, I think someone was like, I'll pay $3 million for it. I don't think so.
I don't think that happened. I think that's part of the story. I heard the same thing, but I haven't seen anybody come forward and say, yeah, I'm the $3 million buyer, or yeah, I got a $5 million bounty for that. When the Zion National Treasures I saw there was a blowout, hey, we'll pay $500,000 bounty. That's a published thing. It didn't actually come to fruition, but there was all that undercurrent.
Speaking of bounties, I'm asking you, Luca Nation. So the top 3 gainers this week on Collectable are last week's top 3 losers.
Which is what we talk about almost every week, man.
But I don't know do you know the reason? I don't.
Overreaction, riding the waves. A lot of times on Collectable, if we're going to be as honest as we can be about it, and I'm sure that Ezra and the entire team, if they were here, they would say that if they could solve for more liquidity on the platform, they would love to do that. It doesn't have the liquidity that a stock market has or that other. It's increasing liquidity, right? I mean, the more people who are on it, the more people who get to know it, the more people who listen to us and realize, what's going on, the more liquidity it has. But I think people know about the sort of lack of liquidity. And when something sells and there's an overreaction, a correction in the price because somebody's looking to get out, somebody's looking to liquidate their position, people see that and say, okay, well, in order to get out, this person had to drop the price down lower than it probably should be. So I'm going to ride that wave right back up. Not fully, but ride it back up to a position where it is. People look for those liquidity type of exits,
Jimmy Fox bat from 1936-37 up 120%. Kobe sneakers, Gabe Warren for Black History Month up 97%. And Charles Barkley's 1994 playoff career high 56 point game worn jersey up 58%. Those are the three we're talking about.
Yep. That Fox was your call last week. I mean, we were talking about him. I was, Jimmy Dugan,
Jimmy Fox. What a guy, man. Imagine living through during those times.
I mean, he's got a cool name. I mean, when I was growing up, Samantha Fox had a cool name too. Yeah, you remember her, or are you too young for her? She had some songs, some pop songs in, I think, the late 80s. Naughty girls need love too. That's why Andrew is here. No? You don't remember that song?
So there's like an Elvis movie out right now. Yeah. And Elvis time, I'm assuming that's what you're talking about. Yeah. So Elvis time. But Elvis was kind of like taboo during his time, I found out. Like, he wasn't a mainstream guy at all. Like, we look back at these icons as like,
I mean, I think he was pretty mainstream. In the beginning, he wasn't, because he was doing different kind of music.
He was against status quo. Yeah. He was like a rebel.
Yeah, it was a little different. Elvis was a little different. But, by the end there, I'm pretty sure he was packing the house.
By the end, everyone is. That's how the hero's journey goes.
I mean, sometimes. You think LeBron's going to pack the house in this year? Or you think he's gone from hero to villain? Or maybe he gets to go back to hero soon. Who knows? You never know, man. I mean,
dude, their team isn't as bad as advertised. The Lakers are a classic case of cageisms. Like, when they first formed that big three, and probably now looking back, it's not a big three. Everyone was like, I think it was plus 200 odds to win a championship, them and the Nets, and both looked like disasters. But now the reverse is true. Now everyone's counting them out, and they're actually three superstars. And yep. Russ is still good, man, and Russ competes harder than anybody you know.
Right.
So, like, I think him and Durant fighting the media all the time is kind of stupid, and it's a little immature. But I'm not as bearish on the Lakers as the current climate. Not even close.
Cool. Me neither. And who knows if they make one small move, right? One small move. I bring up LeBron, of course, to segue us back here because there's plenty of LeBron assets, on the old collectible platform. What stuck out besides the three gainers? I figured for you, golf would be the thing that stuck out. No?
I don't. Why? Why?
Because of all the indexes, all the sports indexes, everything was basically flat. Everything was either up or down 1 or 2%, except wrestling down 16.5%, and I think that was mostly because of Andre's jockstrap that just gets no love. But
I think when I text you anything, you sometimes you just say that back to me, and I have to scroll up. I'm like, I don't think I said anything about Andre's jockstrap recently.
Yeah, no,
and that's a recurring joke since last May, since we had an intern working for us. Believe it or not.
I think you texted me, "Hey, look, the three up were the three down," just like we talked about last week. And I'm like, yeah, and Andre's jockstrap's getting no love because it's down 35%.
I double taked. I was like, I wasn't referring to that at all. Cage found it. It was in like size 1 font at the bottom, like in a footnote.
I mean, listen, it's definitely there. And so wrestling down, but golf is up 18%. So that's an interesting one. I mean, we'll have to take a look at some of the data, some of the numbers. Can I tell you one card or basket that kind of stuck out to me as, one that is interesting given what we are, what we're seeing in the landscape now? People seem to be moving into quality. We talk about flight to quality all the time, right? And usually people think quality means just put your money in Mickey Mantle. It's like buying Apple stock, right? So there is a really cool basket. 2X 1956 Topps PSA 8 Mantle basket. There's 2 of them, okay? And these IPO'd for $5 a share, 5,700 shares, okay? So, you do the quick math on that.
Why is Mantle so recession-proof? Like, all his stuff is up. Like, all these theories we apply to Mantle, all of these theories we apply to Modern, apply to Mantle, like, 17th year card. I don't understand.
Well, this one I think is a 5th or 6th year card. So that, but yeah, I understand. I think the reason why is because even the younger collectors know that there is a fan base for Mantle, and even if Lenhart from Coffee Breakers might not be a huge Mantle fan himself, he knows that there are enough Mantle fans through thick and thin that card is not going to drop below a certain number.
This card right here. This basket.
So I'm talking about a basket. The reason why I'm talking about the basket on these now is not that basket. I'm looking at your email. Right now you're showing your email. And I don't know if people are emailing you. I don't know if people want to,
People are emailing, Cage. We've gotten over 250 submissions for SGC, and we keep track of it. We keep it moving. We got consignments in for whatnot, so people are emailing. And they're happy, man. They're having a good time. The free SGC grades have made people, they brought a little joy back into the hobby, so to speak, in our little community. I love people that are taking photos, tagging us. I know this is out of left field, but you're talking about my email. That's what it is. It's people from the community, man. And, maybe their cards they wouldn't have gotten graded. Yep. Some vintage stuff. Yep. Ones, twos, like from 1907, like Doyle. Who is Doyle? Oh, Doyle rules. I have no idea.
Doyle rules.
But someone great. So glad we could bring joy back to people. I apologize, Cage. I'll pull up the cards now.
No, you're 100% right. And I saw you post that this morning. I'm like, Andrew's up. Here you go.
This guy right here?
This story. Yes, awesome card. Isn't that a cool looking card? Right? 56 Mantle, 2 of them in PSA 8. Nice cards, nice grade. Here's why these stuck out to me. Because when folks are looking for a flight to quality, what happened this past week it started the week at $5 per share, which would be approximately $28.5 market value, right? And that's the IPO price. It fell to $4.05 by end of trading. So this one, I don't know what happened this past week. I don't know if people exited for liquidity. It's a cool card, and now it's below its IPO price, down what is that, 20% almost from last week's close on a mantle. When everybody else is looking to get into mantles, somebody obviously took their money out on mantle, and that was fun.
Cage is battling with the family today. All right, I'll rock a little bit.
Yeah, man. I mean, I got a couple more, but I mean, I don't want to completely steer the whole episode for you. But I just thought that was amazing because I just figured, what?
You think that today's episode, I wanted to do the steering coming off the DL?
No, you don't have to. Just I feel bad. I could totally. I mean, there's another one in that same wheelhouse, the same type of thing with the same similar trajectory, right? Not mantle, Willie Mays, also a basket, the 1959 PSA 9 basket. Difficult, to find these cards in PSA 9. These are really sought after. People are looking for Mays cards. People are looking for Jackie Robinson cards. People are looking for Mickey Mantle cards. These are like, buying Apple and Amazon stock, during a time where the market has turmoil. Same thing on this. $5 IPO price, but it had 4,800 shares, right? So you're talking about, a $24,000 total market cap on these two. And last week, closed at $5.52, down to a flat $4 per share on these. So, I mean, that's down 30%? That's a lot of money down. If you look at the chart, it's probably showing some sort of droppage there. Look at that. The end there. It kind of falls off a cliff. And we talk about this all the time. To be $4 a share at 4,800, that's at 19.2 market cap, right? On these. I mean, 19.2. Now you're getting into a spot where this potentially becomes buyout territory for somebody who's looking to buy some mazes. And you get a basket of 2. Maybe they buy the 2, sell 1, get some loot, and keep 1. You know what I mean? Like that's this. It's just the first thing I thought of. I said, why are these down? Why are these getting beaten up? So a couple of fun ones like that. I got more, dude. I got more if you want. I mean,
I have more macro questions for you.
Yeah,
and we could interject with this. So, how much do alt auctions impact fractional markets? Right, because here we are. We have comps of upcoming auctions, alt ending, and alt in progress. But we've seen time and time again their auctions end below kind of what their alt value is. Curious. You do your research on this fractional platform. Everyone out there also does, right? Yep. They're trying to make good investments. How much do you play into the prices that end on alt as true values or true comps?
We talked about this last episode. The alt ones are almost always low. Almost always low. And I think the reason why I don't...
You don't rate them?
As well, you have to take them into account. Right? Because sometimes they're almost like a leading indicator, right? Because they are still comps. They are still sales that are out there. And, when the Durant refractor PSA 10 started going down, alt was down first. and the other guys kind of followed. So I don't completely dismiss it, but you have to understand that I think it's U.S. only, which is a big deal, especially for basketball cards, right? And you have to have all of your money in there to begin with. So for the collectible app, Fractional, these are high-end cards. You know, it's one thing to have a couple $1,000s sitting in alt, and then you bid, and you could buy stuff and the whole deal. It's another thing to be, you know, bidding on $50,000, $100,000 items that you have to have them holding that money. That's a very different story. It's a very different business that alt is running than what like Golden or PWCC, where you don't have to pay up front.
All right. Next question. Why, in a crazy economy like this, right, why shouldn't I swing for the fences? We're all screwed anyway. Why not invest in Zion?
I don't have an answer why not. I mean, Zion's cards were beat up before this. You got to figure they're going to now get their last beating as the market is taking them down a little bit, you know, with the tide kind of pulling the whole thing down. So, yeah, I mean, I don't have a reason why you wouldn't. 100%, I don't have a reason why you wouldn't. None.
Just think about, and guys, so this is my one and only play, and this is something I'm thinking a lot more about, especially selling on Whatnot's really interesting. He's kind of fallen out of flavor. He has fallen out of flavor, which is rare. In 2.5 seasons, I don't think he's ever been this low in terms of people even not asking about him. He used to be really favorable with the kids. But why I say that is, forget him and like all the narrative, just from a risk reward scenario in a market where you kind of don't know what the F is happening, a card and a player that's got beat up so much. I'll give you 2 examples. So on Collectable, there's only 2 cards. Only really 2 cards. It's his Blue Prism BGS 10. That's down 52% from inception, from IPO. And then his National Treasures, down 65%. So think about it. Like, the market's already crushed this guy. People already basically let go. If he comes back and does anything, I think in a bear market, this is such an interesting opportunity. And there's your value. 22 minutes and clip that shit.
I mean, we've talked about Zion, and I think he is one of those potential home run hitter type of plays. You know where I go? I go someplace different. You know, we've beat the drum a couple times. We've talked about Zion.
How come you don't beat your chest about Aaron Judge? You called that at the beginning of the season. You should be like a happy dad.
I like
Nelk
Aaron
Boys,
Judge.
by the way. Shout out to you guys.
I like Aaron Judge, but I'll
too soon. You don't get. Yeah, you never get too excited. You're such a enjoy it.
You can't. No,
you're not playing
because in New York it's a pressure cooker, and you do not give kudos to somebody unless they do it in the playoffs.
What does that mean, a pressure cooker?
We count rings here. We don't count regular season home run walk-offs. So that's kind of the way it is. So let me talk about some fun stuff, right? Because it's not a cookie cutter deal, right? We're talking about like flight to quality. I'm not going to put every card in the same category. Michael Jordan rookie card is one, right? Where I love it's clear. You name it, the 86 Fleer. You know, I put that in the same kind of bucket as like the Joe Montana rookie card, right? But for collectible purposes, for the purposes of this episode, let's take each one of them and look at them separately, because the pop on the Montana is just over 100. The pop on the Jordan is over 300. And you wouldn't think that makes so much of a difference, because I'm sure there's more demand for the Jordan.
Makes a lot of a difference.
Makes a difference. And this was Golden auction ends, including buyer's premium, $204,000. That's the lowest Jordan in quite some time, probably since the Last Dance, right? And that means that the consigner got $170,000 for that card, plus 20% premium, $34,000 is $204. The one on Collectable is at $220, so it's still within range.
Too many of that card out there. It's a hard card to prop up, Cage.
So let's do another one.
You
the
and
Joe
your buddies.
Montana, right? The Joe Montana card, and let's talk about that one, because that's trading at $65,000 on Collectable, and who knows what that should sell for, but the fact that there's only 100 of them, you want to know what it sold for on Golden? Just ended last night on Golden, including buyer's premium.
I think when we looked at that chart of maybe 2 months ago, I think it was poised for a breakout because it had consolidated in that 100K range. I don't think there's going to be anyone. There's a lot of buyers lining up for that card. I think that card goes up.
85.2 compared to a $65,000 collectible. That's $20,000. That's a 33% increase from the 65 that it's at now. It's one to look at. because that's one of those ones where,
I think the previous sale was like 90, 93, which that 85 is strong in a tough market.
Correct. And so you want to look at the cards that hold. You want to look at the pop on these things, because we talked about another couple of cards that Collectable has 8s and 9s. How about the Magic Bird card? Because even in 9, there's like 600 and something of these. So the Magic Bird card, in PSA 8, there's a basket, PSA 8 basket selling on Collectable for $13,000 at $68.89 each. You want to know what the individual ones sold for last night in Golden, including the buyer's premium? $3,600. So it's still half the price of what the one on Collectable is. So that's a story the other way. The pop is huge on the 8.
Dude, I mean, I think it keeps happening. It's interesting. I think instead of a flight to quality, maybe we think a flight to rarity is an interesting way to look at it, because with the stuff that doesn't come out for sale that often, it's obvious that if it has like collectability, it's going to drop less than
Correct.
stuff that comes up for sale more often. It's going to drop little by little by little, but because there's more sales, it's going to drop more over time. So like, I think it's not that people are leaving the hobby. I think that people are just pulling out. Instead of having 80% of their net worth, now they're maybe at 40% because they need that money to spend. And that's when, you see 8s selling. That's when you see Gretzky OPG selling. Like, that like middle tier of your friends, that 40 to 60 range.
Yep.
They've done well for themselves, but it's not like they're like swimming in money.
Correct. Yep, 100% correct. And I mean, look, that's your.
That's probably who you've been talking to the last few days, and they're pissed.
They are.
Vote with your wallet.
Some of them are pissed. Some of them are, but some of them are also misguided, right? I mean, some of them, it's like, oh, I'm selling everything. Okay, well, trust me, there will be somebody there to scoop up what you're selling, and hang on to it for a year.
One of the most political times in recent history.
No.
Because, like, college kids are political, man. I went to graduation. I didn't get a chance to tell you. I know this is off subject, but...
That's okay. Shoot.
Dude, they care. Like, they politics is, like, a big deal to these college kids now.
Well, none of them plan on working. So politics matter to them the most because they all have to vote for the party that's going to allow them to not work and just sit in their parents' basement and buy NFTs. So, yeah. Of course college kids are involved in politics. I mean, you know exactly what I'm talking about, so don't even lie.
I don't know which one. I've never voted. I've never understood politics.
College versus rookie, right? For pro rookie. Obviously for cards, talk about Prism, you name it. That pro debut versus the college uniform matters a lot. Does it matter as much in, say, memorabilia? And I ask this for a reason, right? Because one of the really cool items on Collectable is the Wilt Chamberlain. The one from his rookie year. A 57-58 Wilt Kansas Jayhawks photo matched home jersey sold last night, autographed by Wilt. It sold for just under $500,000. All right.
I know this is going to be blasphemy. I bet you 50% of the people listening didn't know that Wilt Chamberlain even played for the Kansas City Jayhawks.
Okay, but that might actually, help, right? Because, is the Wilt actual NBA uniform that's currently sitting at $2.5 million on Collectable, is that 5 times, value there? Is that worth where we're looking?
So you know how there's levels to everything?
Of course.
Okay, the $100,000 to $1 million level is interesting, but the higher levels, that's tough, man, because it's harder to figure that out. Like 2.5 mil, that's big money.
Yep.
For just a double, it needs to go to $5 million.
Correct.
So,
and to double from there, it'd have to go to 10. Let's keep doing math. I like this.
You're acting like that, but you know exactly what I'm saying. And it feels like a big hurdle to climb for it's a game worn jersey. I get it, but like 2.5 mil is a lot of money, and there's a lot of game worn jerseys of legends out there too. So that's a big price tag that I think has a little bit more downside than upside at that price. It's tough, dude. Pricing memorabilia, I feel like that it's a little bit more intuitive than it is
Yeah.
data driven.
It's more feel. It's more gut
Yeah.
than it is, analytics. You can have a little bit of both, but I know exactly what you're saying. Whereas a more liquid card that has all these comps, it's going to be a lot easier. Like, for example, a card that
I would want in the millions, like real one of ones, like really something amazingly special, right? In that price range, that's what I would want.
Like a LeBron triple logo, man.
But that's not a memorabilia. They turned it into a card. They went for a different market.
It was 3 pieces of memorabilia.
But it's not. You even said it. It's not, because a different collector would buy 3 game used jerseys. This is kind of a card collector who wants to show off, a little different vibe, maybe.
Yep, 100%.
A little different buyer.
Get all of them right there in one contained, authentic unit.
Right, you can't. You're not like walking around with 3 hangers of game used jerseys.
Hey,
like, check these out.
He wore this on this day, and blah blah.
Right.
Yeah, 100%.
So,
there are cards that ended golden last night that I think have to be approaching what I would consider a bottom. But I do want to make sure that people are aware of the price on them because they are something that trades on Collectable. So Tom Brady, BGS Pristine 10.
Marcus can remain irrational longer than you could remain solvent.
It's true.
So
it's very
bottoms. I wish I had a better quote for that, but you guys know what I'm saying.
I am more of a bottom guy. You've advised everyone you're more of a top guy. So we get it. It is the way that it is. But think about the 2000 Bowman Chrome Tom Brady rookie card in BGS.
As I'm on the bottom, think about that card.
Yeah, well, you're on the top. I'm on the bottom. That card is currently trading actually up a little this week at $33,750 on Collectable. One ended a golden under 19. It was 18 and change last night. Almost half of what is trading out of Collectable. So if you own that card, you should be aware of that. Although it's a
base card though, right?
Lower, though. Yeah, but it's a BGS 10, and you're right. So go ahead, talk about that a little.
Well, people are just funny in the hobby. Like, base cards are in till they're not in, but that's still a base card. Is that not a base card? Like, I don't know whatever
it's
the definition.
It's a base card from 2000.
It's old.
You know what I mean? It's a base card from 2000.
From this millennium, I could flip the script.
It is from this millennium. It's from this millennium. That's true, but it never went through the get it, put it in a slab as soon as you get it out of a pack. It wasn't.
Ian didn't chew on it when he was ripping packs.
It wasn't printed.
We're looking for Bledsoe.
He would have. That's fun. It's pretty funny. This guy sucks. We're Bledsoe guys. This guy's never going to see the field. Anyway.
Now, granted, this was Ian on his home turf in Hofstra. Away game, maybe he wouldn't be so confident, but he did eat Prism cards that day. I remember seeing it. It was intimidation. He was showing off.
So one more, just an interesting one for folks to hear about, because is it memorabilia? I don't know. Is the ticket stuff still happening? Are we trying to make fetch happen? Is the tickets thing still actually?
I think you guys are too mean to the ticket people. I think that they're legit. I like tickets. I think what you guys are saying is that we don't know how many supply is out there with tickets. There's 20,000 tickets for every game.
Yes. Well, some of them more, right? I mean,
and super bad tickets doesn't even make sense.
Correct.
Everyone got a ticket.
So here's why I ask, right? The ticket is a developing market, so it's difficult to price them. It's going to be price discovery. On Collectable, there is a Tom Brady NFL debut ticket, PSA 7, trading at $70,000, down 7% this week, $70,000. There is 1/8 right now. There's a pop 1/8.
I can't imagine grading matters with tickets.
You ready?
Okay.
The 8 sold on Golden last night. So the Collectable 7 is at $70,000. You want to take a guess what the 8 sold for?
44.
58.8.
Oh, with buy stream. Okay.
So go accordingly, guys, because obviously I think if they're next to each other, you're going to want the 8 over the 7.
I don't.
The 7 is
tickets.
trading 7.
I wanted mine autographed.
So if you only have the 2 non-autographs, what you're telling me is I could put the 7 in one hand and the 8 in the other. You're going to pay $70,000 for the 7 instead of $58.8 for the 8.
If markets were that rational, but it doesn't work like that with cards either. You know that. Don't play that. If I could put one Jordan or the other Jordan, and
markets are irrational. What we're trying to tell people is the Collectable one is at $70,000 and it's a 7, and an 8 just sold for $58.
I take back what I said. Paige is right.
No, I mean, are you going to go with eye appeal? Are you going to be the Mike Baker of tickets?
I don't think tickets matter. I don't think ticket condition matters. I think having an auto on the ticket makes it sick.
All right, I'm with you. I mean, I definitely, I am with you. Soccer cards.
Kobe,
Oh,
if you guys out there want to know like my grail, Kobe final game ticket auto signed is probably like I think one of the coolest items out there.
all right. What do you think about soccer? You think soccer cards are seeing a little bit of a correction still, like everything else, because they just weren't graded? Soccer cards are stupid. All right, guys. I'll just give you the top line on this. There is a Mega Cracks Messi rookie PSA 9 trading on Collectable 34.4. It sold for $20,400 in gold last night. So that's about 60% or so of the of what it's trading at. So obviously the trading price is a little higher than what the collectible one's at. I'm giving you ones that are lower, and I'm also giving you ones that are higher. With last night's sales, a lot of the stuff seems to be a little bit higher. So important to know that. What else you got, man? Talk to me about Kobe. Give me a couple Kobe grails.
I just told you the final game ticket signed would be my grail for tickets.
And you wouldn't care. You wouldn't care about the grade on that, huh? Somebody just dropped a pot looking for the card. They had it in their closet.
They had it. Let it go. That's gonna make it a 7, not an 8. No, dude, fine. You guys at Luca Nation, tell me. You guys put it in the comment. Do you think ticket condition matters at all? Or I think most is just authentic. I think people just want to know that the ticket's real.
I got a question for you. Maybe you take a look at it.
Okay.
And we can wrap with that. Patrick Mahomes. Does he fall in the same kind of category as Zion does for you? Even though Zion.
No, I think he's more Curry.
Mahomes is more Curry.
Yeah.
Already.
Dude.
But Curry just had a huge run up. We're talking about pricing right now. Don't you think Mahomes stuff?
Pricing or personality?
No, pricing. Like buy wise. Because Zion, I understand why you'd say he's a home run potential because his card's been beat to hell. He hasn't been on the court. Mahomes cards, he came very close to getting to another Super Bowl last year. Was it overtime, right? Against Josh Allen? I mean, anyway, he's already accomplished a bunch. His cards are taking a little bit of a beating. If you want to pull one up, take a look. Just the one I'm talking about. The National Treasures 8.5, the 17-18 National Treasures RPA 8.5, and take a look at the pricing on this. It really is interesting to look at the chart on this one, because here's an item that is almost a third of where it was at its high for secondary. So that's a little crazy. And it's about a third of what it was on the IPO. 2-color patch.
Okay, how much plus minus would you add for a patch? Like if an average patch is 100,000,
on this
how much is a shitty patch and how much is a great patch?
On this card, a good patch on an 8.5, brings it very close to a bad patch on a 9. But look at the price on that. Look at the chart on that card. There's 16,000 shares. It IPO'd at $10 a share. 160,000 value on it. It's now $380 a share. I mean, what is that at? $60,000 value on this card?
Well,
look at it. It falls off a cliff there at the end.
So there's a few ways to look at this, but it could also have been that the fact that Mahomes' cards IPO'd at the height of his market on Collectable.
That's true, but this is, we're talking about, Mahomes selling for now what Burrow and Herbert selling for.
8.5 with a bad patch, $60K.
That's a bad patch? All right. There are definitely worse patches. It's definitely just straight red patches on him. It's definitely not the worst.
Not on National Treasures.
On that National Treasures, many of them just red. I've looked at this card. I like this card.
But with just the napkin, you gotta put a little texture on. No, you're getting National Treasures. That's a premium brand. Just
straight red. Straight red. And where are all of the influencers who were telling us that we should have been buying triple signatures all along? Right? There's a LeBron, Jordan, Magic triple signature from 2005, the triple authentic signatures that IPO'd at $10, an $83,000 value. And now it's half the price. It's down to $5, $5.05, a triple auto. There were people saying that you got to get those triple autos. Where are those people? I haven't heard anybody telling me that I should be going and buying duals and triple autos for a while. And that one, look at that. It's down to almost half of what it IPO'd at. The IPO'd at 10 a share. It's down to $5.05.
Dude, this is a nice triple auto, though. First off, you
It
never
is.
see him in this good of condition for like an upper deck
Yep.
2005 card.
Yep.
All quad 9.5s and beautiful autographs, like
10.
really nice autos.
10 autos. I mean, just a really nice looking card.
People
What's the
don't like
market
quad
cap?
autos. 41,
41.
40,
Magic.
42, 41.9.
3 greats. Down to 41, 42.
4 weeks till national. Any final words, Cage? Any words of wisdom?
Yeah, I'm gonna smoke some cigars. Any words of wisdom? There's
RSVP for cigar night. When's the announcement coming on what that's going to be? Because I don't think people realize it's actually bigger than we first talked about.
good. That's good. I want people who are RSVPing without knowing how big it is. Those are the true cigar smoking friends and family right there. Hey now, let's go. No, we'll have some more details this week, guys. But yeah, I mean, National's gonna be fun. We're gonna have a good time there. Anybody who wants to, cut it up, we'll be there most of the week. So that'll be a good time. Any other like final fun? You want to chime in a little bit on like there's a Durant card on here. You want to chime in on Kevin Durant and the nonsense with Kyrie and Durant? You are a basketball nut, man. You know all this stuff. I mean, you basically have
every time I try to leave, they keep pulling me back in.
30
It must
seconds.
be something they put in the water.
That's it. I love it here. Shooter McGavin. Nice movie quote, man. Nice.
It's not how you start, it's how you finish. That's a great one to go out on.
But dude,
on Durant and Kyrie.
Well, you did a great job on LeBron because you said the Lakers aren't as bad. Yeah, exactly. So what do you think's going to happen? Ben Simmons there by himself? No,
I don't think it matters. Like, I think every good story needs players like that to come through, and that's why I don't think that Durant is that great. And I think now we're seeing that all play itself out, because it takes more than just individual skill to be remembered in the greats. There's a lot of good players that came through, and dude, his offensive talent is undeniable. He's just like, I think he's weird. Like, I think in some ways he's just weird.
And there you have it, folks. Scientific analysis like you'll get nowhere else.
Well, I'll explain. Like,
weird.
His takes were fine when he was doing well, but with such an underachieving season or two, I think people are like, dude, grow up a little bit and understand where we're also coming from. You left OKC to go with the Warriors. They won. You left to win on your own. It's been a complete failure, and then the Warriors just won without you with Wiggins. What conclusions should people draw? And You're just throwing salt. So, and this is after all the other stuff where I don't think he's that popular in general to the media. And there you have it. But yeah, he could put up 50 on anybody.
Love it, guys. Take a look at some of the things before Andrew ends us here. Take a look at some of the things that came out on the secondary in the last 2.5-3 months during this market coming down. Especially if you can catch a double dip on ones where like the guys were holding out, like playoffs, you name it. A perfect example of this is the Ovechkin SP Authentic basket. You got 2 BGS.
Did you just coin a term called double dip?
Double dip,
now that
right?
Now that we have cardboard relevant, we need double
dip. Well, because we have the overall
Jordan,
market dip, and then there's a dip because OV didn't really do much in the playoffs here. He didn't win a Stanley Cup in the whole 9 yards. But here's a basket that IPO'd at $10 a share, 29.99 shares, basically a $30,000 valuation on it. It came out for secondary 2.5-3 months ago, and has done nothing but kind of drop since. Now it's at a third off. It's $670 per share. Same kind of thing with with a couple of other things that came out recently on secondary. These are ones that we talked about these over the winter as filling, and then they come out a month later. You name it, 90 days later for some of them. Like the Hank Aaron 61-71 tops basket of 9s and 8.5s. That also IPO'd at 10, came out secondary traded close to 10. 9.5, 8, 7. Last week dropped from $7.10 a share to $5.50 a share. So in 2.5 weeks, that's something that, because of liquidity, 2.5-3 months, because of liquidity purposes, is basically half the price of what it IPO'd at. There are items on there to take a look at. That IPO'd a Jordan Exquisite 8.5 flashback, the 09 Exquisite Jordan, which everybody loves. That's in 8.5. Same kind of thing. That one IPO'd at $10 a share, which 16,500 shares, 165,000 market cap. It's less than half of the IPO in basically 2.5 months of trading. It's down to $4.30 a share. This is something that is sitting there now, at under $80,000 a share, total market cap when it IPO'd at 165. Just interesting things to look at, because those, if that's a trend to follow, those will become bargains. There are people in those, especially like that Jordan, at more than double what it's currently sitting at, because it's, it came out secondary at a time where everybody was kind of exiting and running for the hills. Dude, you're a trooper. I'm glad you're feeling better. That's an episode for you guys of the Fractional Report, brought to you by Collectable before the opening bell. This guy's a champ. Thank you very much.
Thank you all for listening to another episode of Lucas, Tigers, and Bronzo My. I wanted to tell you about a new service that we have starting as of today, and I'm really, really excited to bring it to you guys. So, as a part of our partnership with SGC, we got 50 free submissions every single month, and many of you have taken advantage of that. And it's amazing that we could have the opportunity to 650 episodes, 675 episodes in, to go ahead and give back to our community. As people were sending those cards in, they asked, can we send 5, 10, 20 more cards to you guys? We'll pay for it, but we wanted them graded with SGC. You guys know SGC is turning cards around in 13 to 14 business days, have incredible customer service, and their secondary market values are going up day after day after day. And that's exciting for the hobby and exciting for the grading landscape. So we didn't want to just rush into it. We wanted to do it right. And what we did was I relocated here to Boca Raton, Florida. I opened up a P.O. box maybe 5 minutes away from SGC, and I will be hand delivering and hand picking up the cards. So you don't have to worry about anyone else touching your cards. It will be me, and I will update you every step of the way. So here's how it's going to work. I'm going to personally pick up the cards from a P.O. box, prep them, new card saver, new penny sleeve, and deliver them to SGC every single Tuesday. Why Tuesday? Well, it lets the stragglers over the weekend come back through on Monday and gives me a day to prep, and it basically gives SGC the entire week to work on grading those cards. Once your cards pop, only then at the end of the process will you be paying for the service. It's $25 per card, simple as that, and the turnaround times have never been faster. We're hearing right now 13, 14, less than 20 business days. So there it is. 9170 Glades Road, number 135 is the P.O. Box in Boca Raton, Florida, 33434. 9170 Glades Road, number 135, Boca Raton, Florida, 33434. Of course, you could shoot me an email or shoot me a text anytime, and I'm always available. Many of you already have my email. It's iamandrewgoldberg@gmail.com. or my cell phone number, 215-519-9154. Reach out with any questions. I could walk you through the process. I've hopped on the call with quite a few of you, and I'm happy to do that. Love you, Luca Nation.